Hey guys, it's Lisa. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to work on some of these items that I thrifted. This one was just, it was fine the way it was, but I wanted the wood to not have that shine. And so I decided to do this two-tone with the wood and the white together. Now I'm just giving this a good sanding on the areas that I'm leaving the wood color. And I noticed as I was sanding this that this screws apart, so it made it a lot easier for me to sand. And I was able to get it down to the bare wood pretty easily. If I were to sand that whole item and just use the antiquing wax on it, it would update this a lot, but I wanted to use the wood and white today, and that's what I'm going to use on most of these items that I'm going to be working on. So once I get this all sanded, then I'm just going to use a regular antiquing wax, and I think that I'm using the Krylon here, and I'm not sponsored by anyone, but that's the antiquing wax that I usually use. And like I said, that screwed right out, so I was able to get to all this to sand it. Now I'm going to brush on this wax. Yeah, it was the Krylon. Now I'm going to brush this wax on and then wipe it off. So I'm just going to put that wax on that part that I sanded well, because the rest is going to be painted white and it's not going to need it. But now one good thing about doing this antiquing wax before I do the painting is if I get some of the white on that wood, this wax is going to help protect it, and I'll be able to just wipe that right off as long as I don't let it dry. I know it seems kind of crazy sanding this off and then putting the color right back on, but this antiquing wax just has a lot better look than the stain that was originally on it. So with any of these waxes, you just brush it on, usually with a stenciling brush, but I just used what I had handy here, and then wipe it right off. And now I'm gonna just freehand this white line here, because again, if I get the white on what is supposed to remain in the stain or antiqued, then I can wipe it right off. And it's kind of hard to tape a round area like this anyway, so it's just easier for me just to, as I make a mistake, just wipe it off. Now this wood and white is going to update this item a lot and make it fit well into more of a farmhouse decor. And this is white linen chalk paint, by the way. Now because I'm using chalk paint, I will have to go back over this and seal it. But I just like the way the chalk paint covers. So I'm going to give this entire top piece a couple of coats of this chalk paint. All except for that little rim that I stained there on the bottom. But now this little leg, I am going to put some white on it. So that breaks up the colors. You have the white on the top, and then the stained, and then the white and stained. So now these little candlesticks, I thrifted them just like this, and they're in good condition, and so I'm just going to use them just like this. I'm not going to bother painting them. Now this is Gorilla Glue, clear Gorilla Glue, but once this stuff dries, it holds. I actually glued on a clay mold on a project the other day, and wasn't happy with how it turned out. So I've tried and tried to get that off. I've scraped it and soaked it, and obviously the clay mold I was able to remove, but that glue is there. It's not going anywhere. So I ended up having to just throw that item away. So that's a testament to how good this stuff holds. Again, I'm not sponsored by anyone. but this is some good holding glue. I like to add these things with the pot upside down because it's a lot easier to see that you're getting this in the middle. And then I'll just put those aside and let them dry while we work on these other items. They actually need a good day to dry really well, I think. Some people will trust them after a couple hours, but I like to give them overnight to dry before I put them out. So we'll just put those aside, and now we're ready to work on this box. Now this was originally a bread box, but it's that blonde wood that I really do not like. It's in really good condition, so I'm going to paint the outside of it white and just leave the inside the way it is because it's obviously food safe and it's in good condition. So I'm not going to put any kind of paint on the inside. Now, someone had repaired this on the outside. It looked like maybe there had been a crack and they repaired it, so I had to sand that smooth. And then I'm just going over the whole box and just giving it a light sanding. Now, after sanding this, you need to clear coat it so you don't have any bleed through, because anytime that you disturb a stain, you need to seal it so that it doesn't bleed through. Now, I repaired a couple of holes in the top lid, as you could see a while ago. I didn't mention that, but there was a handle on it of some kind and at one time, and it was gone, but the holes were there, and I'm not going to be putting a handle back on it. So I just filled that in with some wood putty and then let that dry and sand it. And now I'm giving this box a couple of coats of linen white chalk paint. And here I'm just touching up that bowl that I had painted before. And then we'll be ready to move on to the next item. Now the next item is this wooden bowl. I like the shape of this bowl, but I, again, don't like this finish. I don't like the shiny finish. And I absolutely don't like that blonde color of wood. I don't like blonde colored stains, and I don't like the honey. Now, I don't mind at all, wouldn't mind at all if this were a whitewash, but I wanted this to kind of go with the other items. So this one is going to be stained on the outside, and this top here that I'm sanding. And then the inside, I'm going to paint it white. Now again, this item sands down really well, and I was able to get it to the raw wood, and I really like that. And I almost wished at this point that I had decided to do it in a whitewash, but I'm going to use this same antiquing wax. Now I do have to go back and put another coat on this because it's a lighter wood than the other item that I used this on. So in order to get them to go together well, I had to put another coat on this one. Antiquing wax is so much easier to use than stain. I just really do not like the smell of the stain, and trying to use it indoors, it's just really hard to use it indoors. So I very rarely use it anymore. I usually just use this. Now when I get to the inside of this bowl, like I said, I'm going to paint it white. And I'm not going to bother taping that off either because just like with the other item, if I get a little bit of paint on this antiqued part, it's going to wipe right off. So it makes it really easy to trim that out just by freehanding. Now, you don't even have to worry about getting this stuff on your hands. I've got it on my hand, under my nails and everything. And if you use hot water, it just washes right off. I just use some hot soapy water and it comes right off, which is another good thing about using it versus the regular stain. Now, here I am putting another coat on the inside. I didn't tape the first coat, but I'm just giving that a second coat inside. You see what a difference this makes in this bowl. It doesn't even look like the same bowl. And now I found these little riser legs, a whole box of them. I think probably a couple hundred of them for $8, and I thought that was a great find. Now here are my little pots that I put on a stand, and as I put them together, I decided that maybe I don't want them both to be the same color, but obviously I want them to coordinate. So I'm just taking some of that white chalk paint and just brushing it on. Now I'm not going to hold my brush upright. I just lay my brush down, because if you hold the brush upright, you're going to get some paint down in the creases, and if you do that, you're not going to see as much of the detail, and it works out really well just kind of laying it and dragging it across. Now I'm going to go back once this dries and just very lightly sand to bring back more of that dimension. But I could almost just leave it like this, and almost did. But I did go back and do a little bit of light distressing. I've had these little flower pots in the store for a while. I bought several, and in the beginning they sold really well, and then I'm down to maybe 3 or 4 left, and it seems like they're not moving. So I just thought it was time to give them a little new life, and everybody likes risers, so I just thought it would be a good thing to do with these little candlesticks that I had thrifted and have had these put back for a while and hadn't done anything with them. So I'm just laying the brush down on the top here, and the reason I'm doing this on the top is so that I don't accidentally brush down inside. So now I'm going to glue these little risers on the little riser legs on the bottom of this bowl, and that'll further update this, and I think these little legs are just about perfect for this bowl. So I could put 3, given that this is round, but since it's kind of a larger bowl, I'm just going to go ahead and put 4. And so I'm just kind of eyeballing where to put those. Again, I'm using the Gorilla Glue here, and it'll hold really well. Wood glues really well to wood anyway, but this works better than the wood glue. So once I get those on, then I'll just let those dry. So now I'm going to lightly distress this flower pot. I'm just going to use a little sanding block and just kind of lightly distress it in places and give it a little bit more dimension. And that's all that I'm going to do to that, except for seal that chalk paint. Now I do go back and seal all these items. Now here's my bread box, and I've got it laying on its back so you can see where I'm going to place these stamps. And so I'm just getting them lined up on my sheet here, and then I'm going to place them where I already have them measured on my sheet, so that makes it a lot easier, and that's how I'm going to place them. So now I'm just going to ink that stamp up, and I'm going to do it in black, and then transfer that on the front of this box. And then this box will be finished, except for giving it a clear coat. Now I could do a clear coat, which is what I end up doing, or I could do a clear wax, but I just take it outside because it's not real bad today, and give it a good clear coat. So if you've never tried these stamps, these clear stamps, they're just really fun to work with. And this particular one, I can't think of what the name of it is, but it is kind of like the Ray Dunn print, and that's really popular right now, so that's why I chose to use this one. So I'm just lining it up here, and like I said, this sheet makes it a lot easier, and just giving it a good pressing down. Careful not to move it. Always keep one hand on your stamp when you're stamping. So So then I let this ink dry good, and I give it a clear coat, and now I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a light distressing, because I'll distress everything. I think that's made a difference in all these items and updated them, and now they'll go together well in a vignette. I do that a lot when I'm crafting. I'll just kind of do some like items so that I can set up a whole vignette. I really love white and natural together anyway, so the white and wood I think is real pretty together. I use that in my home a lot. Now all these items are complete once I go back and clear coat them. And I think it really updated this bread box, and all these items I think display really well and fit into your farm decor very easily. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day, and hope to see you in my next video.